welcome to another review here on my channel. So we're going to look at Jurassic World, The Fallen Kingdom. Or Fallen Kingdom, just Fallen Kingdom, yeah. It is sequel to Jurassic World and is the 5th overall movie in the Jurassic Park franchise essentially. When was it released? I can't remember. I think it was last year, 2018. And it was a success at the box office essentially. The first Jurassic World essentially brought Jurassic Park back to the big screen, and it is now one of the Universal Pictures biggest franchises again, so yeah. But did the sequel to Jurassic World live up to the predecessors' heights or success? Let's just jump right into it and find out. The plot of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is essentially that our main characters from the previous movie are trying to go to the island which had been taken over by dinosaurs after the events of the last movie essentially, and essentially trying to save some of them in order to let the dinosaurs live, let them still continue living in outside of the island essentially. They don't really want them to die because the island have a volcano that essentially are going to erupt. It is going to the lava are going to swallow the entire island and essentially kill everything on it. So they're trying to save some of the dinosaurs. These expeditions are founded by a guy that essentially worked with the original guy from Jurassic Park, original founder of Jurassic Park. For some reason, don't really know him. I don't think we have seen him before, but yeah, he's there. So they go to the island essentially, but they are essentially backstabbed by, or yeah, you can call it backstab, or yeah. I'm trying to find another word for it, but I can't. They're essentially backstabbed by all the guys that have been hired by, what is it called? A person that is essentially hired by the old guy that I talked about previously, that essentially are keeping an eye on his money essentially, and are the one that is doing his funds. He have hired the people in order to take the dinosaurs and send them to investors essentially, instead of trying to save them and put them in a nice home essentially, which was the original plan. So when the island essentially are getting swallowed by the lava, they all escape on the boat, and after that we also find out that they are trying to build a new dinosaur by genes from a velociraptor, which is called Blue in this movie, and some other dinosaurs essentially, and trying to make it into a really big and really big and bad weapon essentially. And that essentially are the storyline for the most part. Overall, I think the storyline are a little bit mediocre at best essentially. It is a little bit cringeworthy when you look at how the dinosaurs are looked at in this movie. It is essentially, they are so magnificent. You haven't seen them before. Oh yes. When they are leaving the island essentially, you see, what is it called? Her. Can't remember her name. Claire. Claire is essentially looking at the island, and it is so sad when the dinosaurs are dying, but you're sitting there just feeling, oh, it is just, I have no feelings essentially. why should we really feel bad for them? They were created in order to just be attractions essentially. So why should people really care? That is what I thought about this essentially. But overall, the storyline was just mediocre at best, so yeah. I maybe quit a little bit too fast there, but overall the storyline I think are... when they move to to the villa or mansion that the old guys actually live in, and when they're trying to sell the dinosaurs, it essentially becomes a little bit of a weird kinda cat and mouse kind of feeling. It just, they are hiding, trying to get the dinosaur out and trying to disrupt this selling point, and it just... Overall, I think this movie will a little bit dumbed down the storyline, at least in order to essentially sell it to more of a family audience. The previous one had a little bit more of a scary moments. It didn't have these most goofy moments that this one had. This just felt a little bit more like a made for the younger audience kind of movie, if you know what I mean. So yeah, story-wise it just didn't feel right. So overall I think the story are just mediocre at best because of these things. The actings for the most part are really decent. The kid actor aren't the best one, but overall I think the acting are good. But the writing of the characters could have been better, because some of the moments that is actually happening just makes them look stupid or just straight out like idiots. And that happens a lot in this movie, where the characters are just written in a weird way in order to make them in order to make the storyline either funny or just trying to make them more of a bad guys or good guys, and yada yada yada. It just feels like the writing of the characters was a second thought. They just wanted to show off the dinosaurs in the end, essentially, and that is just my opinion. The acting of the parts were essentially the best part, but when it comes to the writing of the characters, it's bad. So overall, the acting was good, but the characters was bad, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, effects for the most part were really good and really interesting to watch. The dinosaur looks really good. Some parts of course looked fake. Some environments looked fake because you can see how it was made in a computer, how colorful it is, how it essentially pops out of the TV. It just looks fake, some parts of the movie. Some parts, when it comes to environments, are really good, such as the island. It just looks wonderful and beautiful. But then we go outside of it and it just looks bad. It is a bad environment for the most part. And that also comes down to the effects. The effects, as I said, for the most part it looks realistic, but after a while it just gets a little bit too colorful and just looks too fake in my opinion. So yeah. The dinosaurs are really fun to watch in this movie. We see some new ones and of course the old ones, but that I think overall they put an emphasis on essentially making the T-Rex our main attraction, because sometimes it just shows up and it does a growl and disappear again, and it does the same pose I think 2 or 3 times throughout the movie, and it just looks stupid. I don't really know how else I can explain it. It just looks stupid. Yes, it is a T-Rex, we know, but you have a storyline following the Velociraptor for the most part, Blue, but they're focusing big parts on T-Rex for some reason. It is just unnecessary in my opinion. We also see some other different dinosaurs that we haven't seen in previous movies and that I really think are great, but overall it puts too much emphasis on all the dinosaurs and of course the most popular T-Rex, and not enough on the new ones in my opinion, so yeah. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom feels like a dumbed down version of essentially Jurassic World, or what could you say, The Lost Kingdom or something like that. The storyline isn't really that interesting, it's kind of generic and just makes the characters feel dumb in the end. The acting are great, but the characters are poorly written and doesn't really give the actors a great, well, it doesn't portray them, can't really portray them in a good way because of it. Of course they are acted well, but they are written horrible in my opinion. When it comes to effects, for the most part they are decent. Majority of the time it is the dinosaurs that look the best, but when it comes to they trying to animate their surroundings or environments, it sometimes looks really fake and just pops out how awful it looks essentially, and how fake it really looks. One example would be a boat in some sort of scenes. And finally, when it comes to the overall main attraction, the dinosaurs, they are, as I said, really great. They are great effects, but they put too much emphasis on sort of the older ones, just as the T-Rex, and just doesn't give us enough time to focus on the main attraction throughout the movie, which the storyline essentially are surrounding, which is, or with one of the dinosaurs which it surrounds, which is the Velociraptor Blue. So yeah. So overall, I think it is a dumb movie, and from the previous one. But the final verdict for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom are going to be a 5.2 out of 10. That's all for today, folks. Hope to see you next time.